had a few things on my bingo card for 2026. The GTA 6 getting delayed again, live service game getting shut down, Beyond Good and Evil 2 still not releasing, but Phil Spencer leaving Xbox was not on it. I mean, to be quite honest, this feels like the biggest news to hit the industry since, well, Phil Spencer dropped an insane amount of money to buy Bobby Kotick's sloppy seconds. Look, love him or hate him, and I've seen the internet, I know which side most of you probably lie on, Phil Spencer has changed the industry in irreversible ways, and this departure feels sudden, shocking, and somewhat suspect, leaving many to question what led us to this moment, what happened, and what state does he leave the console gaming industry? From 1988 to 2014, Phil Spencer worked his way up from an intern to the head of Xbox shortly after the launch of the Xbox One. By then, the man earned his gamer cred, having been part of the Xbox team since 2001 and working with studios like Lionhead and Rare before becoming the executive vice president of gaming and eventually the CEO of Microsoft Gaming in 2022. It's worth noting that many of the ideas that have come from his tenure were good ideas, and in a lot of ways consumer-first ideas. Off the bat, he took over the disastrous always online, always watching Xbox One initiative and reversed many of those unpopular policies. Xbox Play Anywhere helped bridge the gap for people like me not looking to buy Gears of War twice. I mean, Phil, and by extension Xbox, were huge proponents of backwards compatibility so that buying a game actually felt like you owned the game, even if you don't theoretically own the game, which is a legal distinction in the industry and a complaint for another video. Heck, even Game Pass was a good idea at launch, allowing people to access a whole bunch of games for the price of roughly 2 AAA titles a year, and often remained the only good version of this type of streaming service in the years since. And for me, as a golden age gamer, these were the things I dreamed of as a kid. In practice, well, not everything landed. Kind of like how Netflix was really cool at launch and then caused everyone to be a streaming platform, killing cinema, TV, and the idea of ownership, and in turn creating an overpriced, oversaturated market of quantity over quality. I mean, it's not exactly the same result in gaming, but it is still a race to the bottom. Prices have gone up despite the available games not getting any better. The value equivalent of 2 AAA titles a year has now become barely 2 a quarter. And first-party promises have really lost their spark. I mean, before Concord was my go-to punching bag, I always had Redfall to fall back on. The Xbox Play Anywhere initiative was a neat thought until it became, you don't need an Xbox to play Xbox, leaving me to ask why I have this nearly $700 hot air dispenser taking up 30% of my TV stand. And now apparently I don't need an Xbox service to play Xbox games because they're all coming to my even larger, more ill-fitting hot air dispenser, the PS5. And then there's the acquisitions. Oh, good lord, the acquisitions. Granted, this isn't just a Microsoft issue. I mean, look at Embracer and Sony as well. But we are talking Phil, and he made some big plays. The aforementioned Activision Blizzard deal that saw IRL version of Nurgle demon Bobby Kotick walk away with golden handcuffs instead of, well, handcuffs. He also oversaw the acquisition of Mojang for $2.5 billion and ZeniMax for $7.5 billion, as well as countless other smaller acquisitions. Meanwhile, he still had to cut over 15,000 people in 2025 alone, a handful of which were replaced by AI. I mean, they cut so many jobs, they had to cancel the one not Sea of Thieves game Rare was actually working on finally. Technically, you could count Battletoads, but that was more of a Delilah Studios thing with Rare overseeing, yada, yada, yada. My point still stands. This is like buying 12 new Xbox games, then selling your Xbox to stay out of debt, and still having the cojones to ask for more money for your monthly allowance. I mean, truth is, company layoffs are like the trolley problem if the CEO is both the sole person on track one and the guy holding the lever. Ranting and raving aside, I don't think Phil Spencer's a bad guy, or even necessarily bad at his job. And a lot of what I mentioned gets placed on him because of recency bias and the fact that he's the figurehead, but it wasn't in a vacuum. Microsoft owns Xbox, and it has its own C-level staff that they are beholden to as well. I do think Xbox saw success and maintained their prominence in the console industry for as long as it did because Phil was in some sort of leadership role throughout its lifespan, even if he occasionally said some dumb shit. It's why his departure has left some concern in his wake. I mean, he's leaving with the last earnings call showing 32% year-over-year drop in hardware revenue and a 9% decline in overall gaming revenue this quarter, and also leaving as Xbox president Sarah Bond, meaning 2 experienced execs in the company are out. In Phil's place is Asha Sharma, who previously presided over Microsoft's AI product. Can we talk about Sharma for a second? I mean, there's some interesting stuff here. Right, before being president over the core AI product at Microsoft, she was the VP of Product and Engineering at Meta, and then the COO of Instacart, a resume that certainly says technology, even if it doesn't say gaming. Microsoft has been quick to defend the decision, stating she brings deep experience building and growing platforms, aligning business models to long-term value, and operating at a global scale, which sounds like corporate for riding a sinking ship. As many fans have pointed out, her Xbox gamertag history starts just over a month of us posting this video, and reads like someone gave her a homework assignment that she's nearly completed. On one hand, I do want the CEO of one of the major companies in our industry to have some passion for our industry. At the same time, I doubt anyone asked her if she bought her own groceries before becoming COO of Instacart. It's also possible she's a Switch gamer, in which case that's not going to read on her gamer tag. I mean, I'm here at Game Rants and I still got to read the competition in order to put together the review roundups. And then there's the matter of AI. And I get it. I don't love that background either. But she's only been on that side of the business for like 2 years. And quite frankly, Microsoft as a whole is forcing it into every aspect of their business. Any AI inclusion in Xbox was likely on its way anyway. It's just about whether she encourages it or has room to push back. If we take what she says at face value, and we have no reason to see why not, she says she's listening to the fan base and does not want AI slop to invade the storefronts. Personally, I do think there is something to gain from an outsider perspective in any business, especially when it comes to growth, accessibility, and the things that we as gamers take for granted. I'm not saying being an outsider is absolutely a good thing, I just don't think it's definitively a bad thing, and there isn't an innocent until proven guilty factor to take into account here. However, she's coming at a very weird time. She's picking up a decline in sales that have failed to be offset by rising prices, and Xbox is already well into its cross-device and third-party strategy, which is feeling loosely reminiscent of when Sonic started appearing on the GameCube, although allegedly the next Xbox console is still underway. Good news is that she will have former Xbox Game Studio head Matt Booty to help fill in some knowledge gaps as he moves into the role of Chief Content Officer. Now, let's compare that to the state of the console gaming industry as a whole. Sony has started digging itself back up from the world of live service slop, and from the game offering perspective, seems to be aiming at a wider audience. Sure, they have bought and closed their own slew of studios. I mean, Bluepoint? Are you kidding me? Before making Bloodborne? Come on! The success of Astro's Playroom and other story-heavy experiences have helped The Last State of Play feel more like a really good Nintendo Direct and less like an algorithmic race for revenue. Nintendo is, well, doing Nintendo. And Mario's too big to fail, and while the Switch 2 is well-liked enough, for every first-party game we are getting, there are like 20 AAA games we've already gotten on stronger hardware. This is what they do. They innovate on the first one, play it safe on the next, then innovate, safe. Let's talk in 4 years when the Nintendo face mask allows me to smell the garlic on Wario's breath and we all absolutely love it. The console wars are really more vague than ever before. I mean, subscription services have hit a ceiling, but the companies would rather concuss themselves trying to break through than give up, and consolidation continues to threaten art and the industry as a whole, encouraging studios to get bought up and then make the same single game or franchise year after year, all the while games become less and less exclusive to the platform, so why are we even playing this game of hungry hippos in the first place? One of the questions I posited at the top of this video was, what state does Phil Spencer leave the console gaming industry? And the truth is, I don't know. Sorry you watched this long for a non-answer, but that's what I find so scary. In an industry that has already been shaken up, this departure is a big shakeup. Phil has been a presence in this industry for some time and has had a heavy hand in molding it. As a whole, this industry feels like a bubble waiting to pop. For Xbox specifically, a couple things come to mind. Personal speculation, but Sharma kind of feels like an interim CEO here. I mean, the train is too far down the tracks to reverse direction right now, and my gut tells me Sharma is more in a position to soften the blow of the outcome than make any major paradigm shifts. At the very least, she simply needs to maintain status quo and level the rocky waters before someone else takes the helm. I mean, I think her CEO experience is coming into effect as a fixer until Matt Booty is ready in Microsoft's eyes to take on the helm and start making the actual changes from a neutral state. All the language has pointed to this. Sharma had stated a return of Xbox, a renewed commitment to Xbox consoles, the earlier aligning business models to long-term value comment I mentioned. It seems like she is suited for the work from a boardroom standpoint. Unfortunately, this will throw Sharma under the bus, inherently being in the position of power when things crash and have to get put back together, even if it's not all due to the decisions she herself makes. And if I'm right about my speculation, then she is probably already aware of that and somewhat okay with it. Now, the bigger question is, will they make it to that neutral state? What little we know about the next generation makes it sound like a Windows-based premium PC platform, which, combined with the rising price of RAM and the mess of tariffs, could make this one of the most expensive consoles to date. If that's the case, can it have as big of a physical marketplace footprint in this current economy? Personally, I think the next system is the Xbox Dreamcast, right? A final hurrah that will be remembered as far better than it got credit for, but not in enough homes to keep the company in the console game. Conversely, as much as I'd like them to pull back a little bit on Game Pass, I think they go all in. Basically become the group Embracer is trying so hard to be, and I see them being one of the largest third-party publishers in the game. And Matt Booty's role overseeing many of the developers under the banner of Xbox and managing those relationships prime the company's focus as a publisher, especially if I'm right and he's being groomed to be the next in line after Sharma's tenure. Microsoft will stay in the game sphere. I mean, it's going to take a lot more to go wrong for them to just give up. But I think we are looking at the end of their time in the console market, which, I don't know, in some ways I'm kind of fine with. Removing a factor of volatility that many of the big companies are contributing towards could give room for the others to stop trying to match the energy, and with less spend but more space to go around, could lead to a calmer environment and better sustainability, or removal of the arms race mentality, and maybe even heal the wounds caused by this era of we need our own Fortnite, Overwatch, whatever game before someone else gets there first attitude. Or the power vacuum leads to Tencent and Embracer releasing hardware, leading to console wars turning into World War III. I mean, who the hell knows, right? The only constant in gaming industry is change. All right, off my soapbox. So, let me have it. Do you agree? My full crap? Let me know in the comments and tell me where you think the state of gaming is going. And in the meantime, we can watch together as this whole thing unfolds right here on Game Rant.